Hello, how are you? My name is Paula, and along with Rontal
Kayan.
and,
Okay.
and Mikeya, we're gonna present offshoring of goods and services. So what is offshoring? It's when a country assembles into a final good in another location other than home. For this model, we have two assumptions. Assumption number one, which is the relative wage of low skilled labor to high skilled labor, it's lower in foreign than it is at home. So we can see the equation right here. The star means foreign country. We can see that the wage of low skill it's less than the wage of low skill in home. Same for high skilled labor, and we can also see that the relative wage, low to high, is less in foreign than it is at home. For assumption number two, the cost of capital and trade apply uniformly across all the activities in the value of chain. The company will lower its labor cost, but it may pay extra costs of doing business. And one of them it can be higher expenses in the foreign country, and also have to pay maybe higher trade costs. So what are the effects on home, relative labor demand, and relative wage? Lower cost of capital means more shifting activities to from the chain value from home to foreign. The relative demand in home will increase, as well as the wage of the skilled labor because of offshoring. The effects on foreign relative labor demand is the same as it is at home. It will increase the demand in the skilled labor and also the wage. The range of activities now done in foreign countries is more skill intensive. When we see at the value chain right here, we can see that demand in both countries increases because the activities in the middle are shifted by offshoring from home to foreign countries. They raise the relative demand for skilled labor in both countries because these activities are least skill intense of those formerly done in home, but the most skill intensive of tasks done in foreign.
So as the relative demand increases, as we see here, in foreign, the equilibrium is shifting from A to B, where foreign is gaining more high skilled workers, and home is actually losing some high skilled, but at the same time, that relative wage for high skilled workers is moving from point A to point B. So this is like a graphic breakdown. So as we see the supply, the original demand with the equilibrium at point A, to the shift to point B, and then in foreign, basically similar graph, point A, the original equilibrium, and then we see that shift and the increase in demand for high skilled workers to point B, which is the new equilibrium relative wage. Also, to apply this, I applied it to Trump's tariffs. As we see, like steel and aluminum, many of those tariffs cause U.S. companies to come back to the U.S. So we saw an increase in those low-skilled routine workers that you see in your steel mills, also in like the construction industry. And the result of this tariffs was a wage increase of 1.5%, primarily due to the increased demand. But likewise, we saw tariffs against China, which affected mostly input goods. So many companies offset those costs by offshoring low-cost jobs. And then we see with Harley Davidson in the European Union, where they have assemblies in Europe, but end up offshoring. I don't know if it's technically offshoring, but moving those assembly lines from Europe to other low-cost countries such as India and I believe Vietnam. And contrasting this to Apple and Nike, where to offset the consumer cost, they, instead of offshoring low skilled labor, they offshored the high skilled, non routine labor with higher relative wages than that of the lower skilled